He was so impressed by what he found here that he made this recording just for you and for those about to tour the Hadley School for the first time. Through his eyes, you will see why the Hadley School for the Blind is unique among America's educational institutions. First, a pioneer in teaching through Braille, now pioneering again with talking textbooks on records. The Hadley School is the only home study school for the blind in the world. Through this recording, we hope to interest you in our work for educating blind adults.
This is Johnathan Winters. Usually my business is humor, but today the folks here at the Hadley School have asked me to tell you something about what goes on here. Well, I'm glad to do it, because you're probably as curious about it as I was when I was here a little while back. I won't forget my first visit, and I'll bet you won't either. I had come in to do some recording in the studio downstairs, but there wasn't much chance to look around before we got started. But I did notice the sign when we came into the building, the Hadley School for the Blind. We came on a Saturday, though, and I figured school was out that day. Later on, we took a break, and I came upstairs by myself. Being an inquisitive kind of fellow, I started to wander around the first floor. Found a nice little kitchen. Nothing strange about that. Must be where the teachers have their lunch. I went farther down the hall and saw a door to a library. Mighty big library for a school building. 3 floors and more shelves than the library in my hometown. The books were all big, and I took one down off the shelf. It was the first time I'd seen a Braille book that close. There was printing on the cover, though, and it said, Language, Literature, and Life. French Book 1, Volume 10. Volume 10. I looked at the textbook in elementary German. 4 volumes in that one. I began to understand why the library was so big. I poked around in the library some more, and I found books on just about any subject you can think of. Everything I ever took in high school, for sure. And then I noticed there weren't just high school books in there. There was elementary arithmetic and one called Using Words for 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. And down on the basement level of the library, there were college English books from the University of Chicago. I had thought schools for the blind were for kids, but it began to look like they took all ages at the Hadley School. After I looked at the library, I came on back to the entrance to see the rest of the first floor. Nice reception area, a door to the director's office, and a big, comfortable lounge that had a long conference table, a fireplace, and 2 portraits in oil, one of Helen Keller, that very great lady the whole world knows about, and another of Dr. E.V.L. Brown, with a plaque stating that he was the president of the Hadley School Board for many years. Also more of those big Braille books. There was a Webster's Student Dictionary there, about 1,000 pages in print, and next to it the Braille edition, 33 volumes in Braille, about 9 feet of shelf space. By this time, I was finding the Hadley School a mighty interesting place, but I still hadn't seen the classrooms. Must be on the 2nd floor, I thought, so I headed for the stairway. On the way, I picked up a leaflet on the reception counter. Let's see, it said, the Hadley School for the Blind. Tuition free. The only home study school in the world for the adult blind. Well now, the only home study school in the world for the adult blind. If it was a home study school, there weren't going to be any classrooms on the 2nd floor. And sure enough, there weren't. I did find a big filing room and several offices around it down the hall.